Okay, so your notebook should be open to the chapter 2, lesson 3 notes. You should have a squiggly line under number 5, and then today's date, and then number 6. Then please put your notebook underneath your textbook and put your finger on the excretory system. We're on page 103. So put your finger on the excretory system. Please don't write in the books. Ready to follow along. Oh, okay. I picked myself first. I'm waiting for everybody's finger to be on the excretory system on page 103. Waiting for everybody's finger to be on the excretory system on page 103. Zara, I've already told you once. We're doing science, not social studies. Is that science? Come on, I'm not waiting. I already told you once. Okay, when I see everybody's finger, I will begin. Carla, where are you? Okay, we have to go ahead and start. Can't wait. The excretory system. When cells break down food and other chemicals, they produce wastes. The excretory system removes these wastes. So, the first thing we can put for number 6 is, of course, the word excretory system. Make sure you spell excretory right. If you can't see it up here, it's right there in your book. And what it does is that it removes wastes from the body. So the excretory system removes wastes from the body, which means that the excretory system helps animals to carry out which of the 5 basic life functions? Carla.
Get rid of waste.
Get rid of wastes. So everything we've read on page 102 and 103 helps to carry out the basic life function, getting rid of wastes. The circulatory system also helped with the life function of using food to get energy. Okay, when you're done writing, we might add to this definition, I can't remember. Put your finger on the liver, kidneys, bladder, skin. Did you ever think that skin would be an organ that helps get rid of waste? While we're waiting, think about what waste your skin gets rid of, or what your skin does that gets rid of waste. Kingston? Sweat. Very good. When you sweat, where does the sweat come from? Does it come from your ears? Does it come from inside your nose? Where does it come from? Where does sweat come out, Zari?
Your skin.
Your skin. Very good. Okay, when everybody's finger is on the liver, kidneys, bladder, skin, I will continue reading. The liver, kidneys, bladder, skin, and lungs are excretory organs. The liver and kidneys filter wastes from the blood. So that means what the liver and the kidneys do is they make sure that the blood is still able to keep flowing, but any waste stuff, any stuff that shouldn't be in your blood, stays there. So that when your blood moves to your heart, well, your kidneys and your liver have already, they filtered out the bad stuff, so that bad stuff that can sometimes be in your blood doesn't get to your heart. That's why it's so important for your livers and your kidneys to work well. The bladder stores liquid wastes. The skin sweats to remove excess minerals. Lungs remove waste gases from cells. So do gills. So those are all very important organs organs in the excretory system. Some actually get rid of the wastes. Some filter out the wastes. Which organs filter out the wastes? Mason? The kidneys, not the lungs. They don't filter it. And the liver. Good. The kidneys and the liver filter it. So it's like if you have like when you cook or when your parents cook and they have the strainer and they make noodles, and after they've boiled the noodles or they've had the noodles in the boiling water for a little while, they pour the water into the strainer. Well, what happens is that strainer lets the water pour down the sink, but the noodles are safe in the strainer. That's what your liver and your kidneys do, just with blood that gets to go through and keep moving, and the bad stuff, like the chemicals and the waste stuff, that stays behind and then eventually is removed a different way. Yes, Sadie?
But not every time do all the bad waste come out.
Exactly. And that's when you have to go to the doctor. Sometimes not all the bad waste comes out. Sometimes something's going on where it's not leaving your liver or kidneys. Sometimes something bad's going on where your liver and kidneys aren't able to do their jobs as well. And that's the same with all of these things. All of these organs sometimes don't work the way they're supposed to. Sometimes it's because of something a person did to it. Sometimes it's just because something weird happened inside your body that you had no control over, and it caused that to happen. Kingston, quickly.
For some reason, like, when I feel kind of like sweating a little bit, water doesn't come up. Water doesn't come up there. Like, water kind of never comes to my foot at all.
Well, sometimes maybe your sweat glands don't work as well there. They work more in other places.
Like my shirt kind of sticks in my back sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes some of our sweat glands don't work as much as other ones. Mason?
That's why you don't smoke.
Exactly, because that smoking can mess up your lungs. I almost said your lung organs, but you don't have to say organs because your lungs are organs. Good. Okay, Zari, quickly, then Victoria, then we're going to move on.
How do you mess up your kidneys?
Just sometimes if you do, like, smoking and things like that can sometimes mess a lot of your organs up. But also sometimes you might be born with something that messes up your kidneys, or sometimes it's just something that happens where I'm not sure why. Doctors may be able to figure it out, but it might be hard to figure out why. Sometimes it's because of something you did. Sometimes it's because of something you're born with. Sometimes it's because of something that just happens. So we always have to make sure that we take care of our bodies so that at least that one thing can't happen. Okay, go ahead and turn the page. Oh, Victoria, I'm sorry.
So I saw a commercial where a boy was smoking, and this dude came up with a package, and he looked inside of it, and it was like rotten old teeth. Then he looked up again, and then he looked in the box again, and there was nothing in it, and then he felt his teeth, and it was those black,
Ugh.
crooked,
Yep, because smoking also messes with your teeth. Your teeth aren't organs, but
I tried to tell that.
it messes with that too. Okay. Go ahead and turn the page. And Mason, go ahead and read on page 104, loud and slow. Everybody, finger ready to follow along. Mason, can you tell everybody where to put their finger and then pause?
How is food broken down?
Good. Everybody, finger on how is food broken down. Keep in mind that it is a big blue question. Once everybody's finger is ready, I will let Mason know so that he can continue.
Animals taking food for energy until
Oh, slow down. Remember, when you get to a period, pause for a second, okay? And slow down just a little so everybody can keep up with you.
Animals taking food for energy until the food is broken down. Body cells cannot use that energy. The digestive system helps break down food.
Good. So, Mason, what is number 7?
Digestive system.
Digestive system. And what is the digestive system, Mason? What does it do?
It helps you break down food.
Very good. It helps break down food. Because when we eat food or drink water or juice, it can't stay in that same form in our body, even when we chew. Even if we chew well, we still have these big chunks, and they can't stay in our body like that. So the digestive system has to break it down. Our cells need food, right? But can the food get to our cells if it's still the size of a chunk of hamburger that you didn't chew up all the way? No, because it has to go through our blood veins. Look how small your veins are. Can a chunk of food fit through those little green veins on your wrist?
Green?
Greenish, bluish, whatever. No! A chunk of food, even if you chew it up well, can't fit through there. So the digestive system has to break it down into teeny, 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 tiny microscopic pieces that can be carried through your blood to your cells. Mason, tell us where to put our fingers.
And simple animals like sponges.
In simple animals like sponges, when I see everybody's finger there, I will let Mason know so that he can continue.
And simple animals like sponges, cells along the body, walls turn food into small particles. Other simple invertebrates have digestive systems with one opening. Food and waste enter and exit through the opening.
Ew. So you should be glad that we are not one of those invertebrates. Because that means what they eat and what they're getting rid of comes out of the same opening. This is always a funny chapter. Okay, Mason, you're doing an excellent job, and we don't have a multiple of 2 left, so you can go ahead and read this short little paragraph that comes next.
Segmented worms have digestive systems with 2 openings. Food enters through the mouth. Waste exits through the tail.
Very good. So we can see in this turtle the path the digestive system takes. So first, we see the food enters through the mouth of the turtle. Then it moves down the esophagus, which is not labeled, but we all know what an esophagus is, to the stomach. And then in the stomach, that's where the digestive system really starts breaking things down. Because we know our stomach has a lot of what in it? Who remembers from that Magic School Bus? Did we watch that Magic School Bus episode?
Of what?
But you've probably seen it. The stomach has a lot of what in it? Acid. Acid helps to break that food down into teeny, teeny, tiny little particles that can then be carried by your blood to all the cells. Well, it doesn't stop there, because can that food stay in our body forever and ever and ever? No, otherwise we would be massive, so big we wouldn't be able to move. We wouldn't. The food has to exit somehow.
And Willy Wonka? Blueberry?
Yes, except not because we got turned into a blueberry, but because all of our food and the drinks that we ever ate and drank are just stuck. And sometimes when we're babies and we eat bad stuff, like crayons or pennies, it would still be there. So, let's keep looking at the turtle. After the stomach, it passes through the liver to make sure that the blood has only good things in it. And then anything that is not good starts going through these intestines. And then the liquid wastes go to the bladder. The solid wastes go past, they do not go through the bladder. And then all of those wastes, whether it is liquid waste or solid waste, exits our body, or exits the turtle's body by the tail. Well, that's the animal kingdom. That's life. This is always a fun lesson to teach.
See, I can make people laugh.
Okay. Come on, guys.
I don't want to.
Okay, well, the turtle's digestive system works very similarly to ours. Not exactly the same, but very similarly. We have all of these parts, the same type of things happen. We just have more or different parts than they do. Okay, Ethan, please read next. First, tell us what the first 4 words are so that we know where to put our finger.
Reptiles and amphibians.
Reptiles and amphibians. So put your finger on reptiles and amphibians. When I see everybody's finger ready to follow along, I will let Ethan know. Loud and slow. Your volume is usually very good, but you go a little too fast. Make sure we can keep up with you.
Okay. Reptiles and amphibians have a more complex digestive system. Study the diagram. How many digestive organs does a turtle have?
Pause. How many digestive organs does a turtle have? Carla?
5.
Yes, 5, because the tail is that's where it exits. But it's not, the tail itself is not a digestive organ. It's just a part of the turtle's body. Yes, 5. The mouth that takes in the food. The stomach that breaks the food down. The liver that filters the food from the waste. The intestines that allows the food to head to where it needs to go to be put in to become waste. The bladder that holds the liquid waste. And then where it comes out near the tail. Okay, Ethan, tell us where we need to put our finger.
Mammals.
A little more.
Mammals have a similar system.
Mammals have a similar system, which we've already kind of talked about, but let's go a little more into detail about it. Okay, when everybody's finger is there, ready to follow along, I will tell Ethan to continue. Is it an emergency? Okay, let me just hold on. Go ahead.
Mammals have a similar system. The stomach churns and mixes food. Digestive juices break it down. The food bits travel to the small intestine. There they are broken down into tiny particles that the blood can carry.
Very good. So just like what we've talked about, the stomach is really where it starts getting mixed and churned and breaking down into those tiny little particles that can either be carried to the cells by blood, or that are able to move through the rest of the body as waste. Okay, any questions about this lesson? Any comments about this lesson? Zadie, appropriate comments only.
Wouldn't it be 6 instead of 5 when Carla answered?
No, because the tail is just the part of the body, not an actual organ. It's just where, they're just pointing out this is where it comes out. But the mouth is an organ because you have your tongue and your teeth and all that help to break. That's the first place that it's broken down because we're not going to put a whole hamburger into our mouth and swallow it, right? We have to chew it up first. So that's where the first breaking down goes. And then it's broken down further in your stomach. Cullen.
I'm taking this book wherever I go.
Why?
I'm taking the turtle.
Okay. Because it is cute. Smith. Make sure when somebody else is speaking that you put your hand down so you can listen. Give them your full attention.
Do the warm-blooded and cold-blooded animals sometimes have different digestive systems?
Well, reptiles and amphibians, which are cold-blooded, have very similar to us. But fish and the different types of fish is different. They have some of the same things, but not all. But most vertebrates do have similar digestive systems. They're not exactly the same, but they are similar. Invertebrates is where it really kind of changes. Like we talked about, some invertebrates only have one opening. And a worm has 2, but there's no digestive organs in the middle. Just as they move, dirt comes in, or their food, which is dirt and the nutrients in it. As a worm moves with its 2 openings, The food comes in, and as it moves, it goes out. There's not really anything doing any breaking down. Yes, Zari.
I had 2 questions about the picture.
Okay.
On the intestines, there's this pink line that goes all the way to the tail. And do we have similar to that,
Yes.
like the turtle?
Yes. Kingston?
And my other question was,
Make sure you're focusing and listening.
my other question was, do we both have the bladder? Do we have the bladder and the intestines that go down the same way?
Yes. Our bladder is like you know when you have to go to the bathroom really bad and you press on, if like something hits your stomach, it makes you have to go worse. That's because your bladder is right around there. Most of your digestive system organs are right around your stomach. Okay, Kingston, then Victoria, then we'll come back to Zadie and Cullen, then we have to move on.
So pretty much a literal segmented worm, butt can eat food, and its mouth can also eat food.
That's it.
And it's
No.
its mouth. But at the same time,
No, those are other, not segmented worms. They do have 2 openings. Food comes in one way, waste goes out the other way. But some simple invertebrates only have 1 opening. Food comes in, waste comes out.
so pretty much it just moves through its mouth and eats through its mouth.
Yes. Yes,
Disgusting.
it is, but that's life. That's how it is. They don't know any better because do they have brains to think like we do?
No,
So does it really bother them?
No.
No,
they don't mind it.
they don't mind it. That's just how it is. Victoria.
So when a snake eats a mice,
Mouse.
I mean a mouse,
Remember, mice is plural.
a mouse. They eat it and they swallow it,
Mm-hmm.
but then instead of coming out as poop or pee, it comes out as poop or pee from their mouth.
No. Snakes have a digestive. Snakes are reptiles, so they have a similar digestive system to the turtle.
Ugh.
It's just skinnier. So, but snakes don't necessarily chew up their food like we do.
They just like
But their
swallow it.
stomach still has to break it down. Their stomach is still there. They swallow it whole because they have those jaws that can hinge. Oh, we can't do that. Our mouth can't get any bigger than however wide we open it. A snake can unhinge their jaw so it can get really, really big.
Ugh.
Like this.
Yes.
Maybe not that big, but big.
Yes.
Maybe that big. And then, so it goes in and then it passes through their esophagus. Their esophagus works like ours, where it like squeezes the food, and as it squeezes, it goes down and down and down and down. And then in its stomach, that's where the stomach acids and things like that start to break it down. Okay, remember, we're gonna go back to Zadie and Cullen, and then we have to move on. Or we can keep discussing. We can choose. Do you want to do election day go noodle? Or do you want to do, we can keep discussing.
I have
Okay.
another question.
Zadie and Cullen, then Mason, Ethan, Victoria. And then we're done, okay? Zadie,
You actually could swallow a hamburger whole, but you die.
you'd probably choke.
Kingston, are you okay?
Oh, never mind.
Cullen,
It's weird. I did not read this whole lesson.
well, you weren't, because we did it today. You weren't supposed to read the whole lesson yet.
I know, but I didn't read at all in this lesson.
Oh, okay. Out loud, you
Yeah.
mean. Okay, I was confused. Oh, I guess that's just how the sticks work sometimes.
Yeah, that's same with me.
That's just how the sticks work sometimes. Sometimes you may notice you get to read all the time. Sometimes you may notice, hey, I haven't gotten to read in a while. Because at the end of the day, what I usually do, not every day, is sometimes I forget, but usually I'll put all the sticks back in. Okay, Mason, quickly.
I actually have a press stick.
Do you? Oh, that's cool. What's your snake's name? Is it like a snake that lives in your yard, or does it live in your house?
It lives like in a big box, like a big cage.
Well, tomorrow, tell us your snake's name and what kind of snake it is. And don't tell me what you feed it, because I'll probably be sad, okay?
Frozen.
Please, don't.
Who has a snake?
Mason. Mason has a snake, but he doesn't remember his snake's name. Okay. Zari did have a question earlier. She had her hand up, but we have to move on. So Zari, Ethan, Victoria, then we have to move on. Zari, what's your question that you had? Your hand was raised when I was naming people. I just missed you.
No, I asked my question.
You did? Okay, I thought you had another one. Okay. Ethan,
Okay.
make sure your comment is not silly.
So when a snake swallows, can it count as a knife?
Because it has a jaw that unhinges. So what happens when we try to eat too big of pieces is that our jaw, it gets caught. And then because it gets caught in our back here, that means it blocks our windpipe.
What can animals choke? Can they
Some.
bite?
Mhm. Yeah, they can. They can definitely choke. Sometimes veterinarians have to learn an animal version of the Heimlich maneuver.
What? Huh?
You know, like the Heimlich maneuver that you do? You may not have learned it, but it's where you like can get other people if they're choking. Vets have to learn an animal version. And sometimes if you are a pet owner, you should look up, how do I help my dog if they're choking before they actually choke, so that you know. Okay, Victoria, and then we are moving on.
Okay. So the snake's jaw unhinges. So if it wants to eat a tiger, it can just literally just swallow the tiger.
Yeah, but usually they don't eat tigers.
Ugh.
Nothing that big. Like the biggest thing they could, probably like a small pig.
Oh my.
I think I've seen like where a snake has eaten a hog
But
whole.
pigs are fat.
But I said a small one.
They like
Okay,
withers.
shh, a small one.
Like open it that big.
If this is good, because we don't have time to discuss every single thing that you have, but what you have to say is interesting. So, and there is a lot of information. So what has to happen is, because we don't have time to do it all in school, what can you do when you get home if you have more questions?
Look it up on the internet.
Smith,
You can write them down.
you can write your questions or comments down, and then Victoria, I know you're trying to be silly, but that's true. You can look them up on the internet. You can learn a whole lot just by going to one Wikipedia page about something that you have a question about, and then clicking on like 6 different others, because you're like, oh, okay, but wait, what is this? So you click on that and you read it and you're like, oh, okay. That's always a really good thing to do. You learn so much just by being curious and looking it up. And you'll be great at trivia, and all of your friends will invite you to be on their trivia teams. Like me. Well, you don't look it up when they're asking the question. But if you're really curious and you look things up just randomly, chances are you'll remember a lot of it. And then that question may come up later, and you're like, oh, I know that because that one time I was just really curious about it and I looked it up on the internet and I still remember it. So being curious is really good, but unfortunately we just don't have enough time at school. But when you get home, if you're allowed to use the screen time, then you can look up whatever you want. Just make sure it's, you can look up any school thing you want. Yes, okay. We're going to go ahead and we will pack up first so that we're all ready for the end of the day. If I keep having to stop to wait or correct people, that means we're not going to end up having enough time. Because we have 1 hour, 55 minutes till the end of the day. It takes us about 30 minutes to pack up on a normal day. But if you guys are being wild and crazy and overly excitable, that means I keep having to stop. Or I keep having to correct you. Or I keep having to repeat myself. which then makes it take longer than 30 minutes. So please follow directions, be calm, and ready to do what you were asked. Are you ready? Show me, do not tell me that you are ready. Mason, are you ready? Show me, don't tell me. Ethan, are you ready? Show me, don't tell me. Victoria, are you ready? Show me, don't tell me. Being the class clown is a good thing, but there's a time and a place. Okay, everybody, completely clear your desks. Please don't be the reason that we don't get to do the election go noodle. Don't be the reason that we don't get to do the election go noodle. When we watch the election go noodle, we are not going to talk about our opinions at all today. You may talk about them with your family, you may talk about your friends on your own time. But we are not going to talk about our opinions on presidential candidates at school. Do you understand? We are only going to be watching a go noodle about the election process and why you should participate. Okay, every single person, get out your planner. Ethan, quickly. Yes? Mason.